This is Alex from Lincoln Park Library, and today's How To Tuesday will be how to make my mom's special crumb cake recipe. So it's actually a recipe that she got maybe like 25 years ago from a church recipe swap, and it's a huge hit, always a crowd pleaser, and it's a pretty easy recipe as well. So in terms of materials needed, you will need 2 mixing bowls, an electric mixer, an 11 by 15 baking pan, mixing spoons, and a small pot. So that's what you'll need in terms of, not ingredients related. For the cake ingredients, what makes this so simple is that the base for it is just 1 box of a butter cake recipe mix. So you can see right here, this is the box that I use for the one that I made for this video. Any kind of butter cake mix is fine. That's just the one that I happen to use. And don't follow the instructions that are on the back of the box. This recipe calls for different ingredients, proportions, things like that. So you don't follow that, throw the box away, once you empty out that cake mix. For the other cake ingredients, you will need 4 eggs, 2/3 cup of vegetable oil, as well as 2/3 cup of milk. And then for the topping ingredients, you will need 4 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon cinnamon, 1 cup of brown sugar, half a cup of sugar, 3 sticks of butter, and then 1 tablespoon of vanilla. So step 1, you'll want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And then first you want to combine all of the cake ingredients. So that includes the box mix, the eggs, the vegetable oil, as well as the milk. So for 4 minutes on medium, make sure you mix it, and then this is a picture of what the mix looks like down here once it's all blended. And then for step 2, you want to prepare your baking pan. So you can grease it using, like some sort of like vegetable oil spray, or you can use butter and flour, which you can see here is what I use. So I greased the pan using some unsalted butter, and then I took some flour and spread it evenly around the pan so that the cake batter wouldn't stick. Once you do that, you have to pour the mix in, and just do it carefully. You want to spread it evenly across. I use just like my mixing spoon that I was using, and I kind of just carefully spread it without touching the bottom, just across the entire pan, and got it as even as I possibly could. Once you do that, you want to set your pan aside, and you want to prepare the topping before placing your cake in the oven. So to create your topping, you are going to melt your butter sticks completely, and then you're going to add the vanilla. And then what you want to do is set that aside to cool. So I took it off the heat and I kept it on a different part of my stove. I allowed that to cool while I mixed together the dry ingredients in a separate bowl. So you can see down here, up here is my wet, and then down here is my dry. So that's before I mixed it, that's after I mixed it all together. So after you have your butter mixture cooling and you've mixed your dry ingredients, you're going to place your baking pan in the oven at 350 degrees for 20 minutes. And while that's baking, you're just going to let your butter mixture completely cool. So you're just going to keep that over there until your cake is ready to come out of the oven. For step 4, you want to remove your cake from the oven and let it cool. So you're going to put that aside. And now you're going to combine for your topping. You're going to add the butter and the vanilla mixture to the dry ingredients. And then you'll see that your topping should look a bit like this down here once you mix those wet and dry ingredients together. So once the cake has cooled and you've done your topping, you're going to crumble the topping onto the cake as even as you possibly can. So you can see here, sometimes it's hard to get on the edges, but you just have to try and sprinkle it to the best of your ability, as evenly as you possibly can. Crumble that all on, and then you'll place that cake back into the oven for 15 minutes so that the topping can bake. And then once those 15 minutes are up, you will remove your cake from the oven. Again, let it completely cool, and then what you can do, what we usually do, is add a sprinkling of powdered sugar on top. So you can take like a sifter or something like that. That's what we usually use. And we just sift some powdered sugar on top. Just make sure that it's completely completely cooled. Otherwise, that powdered sugar is just going to melt into the topping and you won't even be able to see it. And then once you do the powdered sugar, your cake is complete and you can cut it up, you can share it. You know, it makes a pretty large sheet pan, so this is great for any kind of like holiday, birthday party, any larger gathering because it does make a lot of cake. And for those who want a moister cake, I know that my mom has sometimes, for the initial bake, when you put it in for the 20 minutes, she's lessened that and put it in for maybe only 15. So that's up to you. You can do that as well. But the 20 minutes is just the standard for the recipe that she, had gotten from this recipe swap. And that's great too. But you can take those 5 minutes off the initial bake if you would like a moister cake. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you go and make your own crumb cake. And if you do make it, you'll have to let me know how you like it. Thanks so much. Have a great day.